Are you listening? This ain't no quiet thing. We're screaming out our lungs. Hey, are you listening? Hey, are you there? Hey, are you listening? Or do you just not care?
Well, hey, are you listening? This is a podcast exploring the past, present, and future of Christian music. My name is Joel. I'm here with my good friend Brandon, and we connected over a mutual love of some particular artists, but also have kind of different tastes. And so we get to expose each other to new stuff while inviting some friends along for the ride. And Brandon, I get to get exposed to something new today in the record that we're going to be talking about. With one of our friends that we've already had on before, and that's Bryan Olesen from the band VOTA, is joining us again to talk through their brand new record, Back to the Start. And so that's kind of a fun thing. I know it's something that it's a band that you've already had a connection with, but for me, it's brand new, which is cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I get to see a band that, how has their music changed, from when I first found them in the late 2000s to now. I think it's also really cool that we get to sit down with the artists and ask them about their album and kind of just sit down and see their thoughts on it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to digging into that. But before we get into it, let's check the mail.
Check the mail. Check the mail. Who, what, when, how, why? Check the mail.
All right. Well, today, a friend of the show, Emily, asks us this. Dear Brandon and Joel, what's the strangest thing that you've ever seen on stage at a concert? Brandon, any thoughts? Strangest thing that you've seen on stage at a
What
concert?
people around me thought was strange or what I thought was strange.
I don't know.
I think the two that come to mind, and I thought they were really cool, was we were at a show years ago, and it was the first Me Without You show we'd ever gone to, and the whole show, Aaron was just so weird on stage, and he would at one point he was like, "Hey, did anyone see us in Charlotte last night?" And people start cheering, and he's like, "Did anyone happen to bring a cell phone?" No one says anything. He's like, "Well, I lost my cell phone last night." So he was like, I need someone to call my mom and tell her that I'm haven't died or something. He was like, "Or you can tell her I died and it'll be a surprise when I make it home." And it was just such a weird show. At one point he's got a towel over his head and he's just playing, I think with Angel of Death, Came to David's Room. And then Family Force 5, they used to do this thing where their guitarist, Chapstick, he would start doing this solo this solo for Radiator, and he would start licking the guitar, and I was just I have never seen anyone do this, but I saw a lot of people that were like, "That's disgusting. Why would you do that to your guitar?" And so I think those are the two things that stand out that I didn't think was weird, but I think the general audience would feel is weird.
You don't think licking a guitar is weird?
Back then, I thought it was so cool, and even now, I'm like, man, if I went to a show and someone started doing that, I would be like, that's cool.
As a guitar player, I can't recommend doing that. I don't know. Yeah, two that I think of. So one is just kind of a standard that I feel like so many people have been able to experience throughout the years and going to see the Newsboys. But I just remember seeing the Newsboys early on and John James walking out in this sparkle suit that the lights just shine off of, and you literally can't even see him because he's radiating so much light, which fit with their whole shine theme, so that he could literally shine lights. And then I probably also fit with their record Love Liberty Disco a little bit, so they just kind of kept on with it. But then of course Newsboys had their gimmick of the drum cage that goes up and then flips upside down. So back in the day it was Peter Furler playing drums, and all of a sudden, man, Peter's upside down playing drums, and he keeps going. Later on, a band that I loved, the band Mute Math, they did crazy stuff on stage. Their lead singer was always doing like handstands on his piano and all kinds of wild stuff. But every show, their drummer would walk out, and he didn't use a monitor, he used headphones. And so, like the kind of studio headphones that we wear for this podcast, and he would put these headphones on his head, but because he was such a crazy drummer, they wouldn't stay on. And so he'd literally every show take a roll of duct tape and duct tape around the headphones and around his chin to make sure that the headphones weren't going to fall off during the show. And I'm just imagining the pain of after the concert every night, like pulling that duct tape off of his face. I don't know if I recommend that, but I feel like it must have been effective in the moment. So, yeah, it's cool again, but just a strange thing. So, yeah, artists do interesting things sometimes.
Yeah.
So, kind of fun. Good question. Yeah, if you've got questions for us or things that you'd like us to discuss, we would be happy to do that. You can send your questions to us at heyareyoullisteningpod@gmail.com, and we'd love to get into those. Let's talk a little bit about what we've been listening to lately. Brandon, what have you been spending time with?
So it's not in the Christian category. It's not even mainstream, Joel. It falls under, I guess, soundtrack would probably be it.
Okay.
It's this children's show called Kif on Disney. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Nope.
The main characters, it's like a squirrel and a rabbit that I guess are in middle school. I don't think they ever explain the ages because, I mean, they're doing stuff like building a rocket to go to space, but they're also in school. So I guess that's something that maybe like a 14-year-old would do. I guess if I had to think, 13 or 14-year-olds are probably capable of being in school, but also building a spaceship to go to space.
Makes sense. Checks out.
Yeah. And but they do like each episode has like an original song. And it like afterwards I'll send you some of the songs, but it is like awesome. Like I got to the point to where I don't buy a lot of vinyl because I'm more of hey, when will this go on sale, or what can I get for under $10? But I have searched online to see if I could find this on vinyl, and I was like, I don't care how much it is, I'm gonna purchase it. Like that's how good the songs are. So I've just been listening to that and enjoying it. So like I said, it's definitely very like out in left field because I am like, I don't care for musicals. I don't care usually for children's music, but the soundtrack to Kif, I guess particular season 2, has just really taken a hold of my ears.
Yeah, interesting. Well, Brandon, I do want to hear that, so please send it my way. Kind of fascinating. One thing I've been listening to that I kind of wasn't expecting. So there's like a singer-songwriter that I started listening to years ago. I think I saw him open up for one of my favorite bands, Wilco, back in the day. And his name's Joseph Arthur. And he put out some pretty popular songs. He has a song that called In the Sun that he put out years ago that I think Coldplay ended up covering. And it got some pretty good traction from that. And then he had a few albums. He had an album called Redemption Sun that I really liked. And there are like these like Christian themes running throughout his music, but you're always like, what's going on with this guy? Like, is he a Christian? Is he not a Christian? Like, I don't really know, even though it like shows up in all of his music.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a hippie kind of guy. Well, he has a new album that just got announced, and apparently it's going to be a trio of albums called, well, this one at least is called You're Not a Ghost Anymore, Faith. And so there's one track that's been released from the album, and I'm just like, you look at the song titles for this, and I'm like, this guy, like, I think has like made a pretty significant turn in his life,
Mm-hmm.
because this looks like a straight up Christian album just from
Mm-hmm.
like the song titles that are out there. And so when you go and look at the tracks, the song that's out now is called "I Want to Know You." There's
Mm-hmm.
a song called "Hey Satan," a
Uh-huh.
song called "He Died," a song called "No Weapon," "Bear Your Own Cross," "Dare But for the Grace," "There Count It All Joy," "Holy Spirit," "In the Shadow of the Cross."
Mm-hmm.
And so it just definitely seems like this is like a Christian record that he's putting out, and I love his stuff. It's very creative and very interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm kind of interested to see what's going to come from this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend people checking it out. "You're Not a Ghost Anymore,"
That's
Faith by
cool.
Joseph Arthur. So all right, well, let's get into our main
Mm-hmm.
discussion for today. All right, well, we are back again, and today we're going to be talking about the album "Back to the Start" by the band VOTA. And the fun thing is that our friend Bryan Olesen from VOTA is back with us as we kind of dig into this record today. And this is kind of a cool thing because we've never had the opportunity to talk about an album with an artist and like ask all the questions about
Mm-hmm.
the record that we have after spending time with it. So it's like a new one for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it.
I'm kind of pumped.
I
Well,
oh, here. I got to set the ground rules. I know you should set the ground rules, but you got you need to speak your true heart. You know, like I had this picture of like when someone's sharing me their song and they're playing it. You know how like you bob your head a lot because they're there in the room and you're trying to show that person like, yeah, I'm really digging this, even though you wouldn't be bobbing your head if you were listening to it without them in the room. So none of that. You just be yourselves and tear me apart when and where you need to, and this will be fun.
It's gonna be really funny if Brian says all that and then he's the one that's like talking bad
I
about it.
know.
Like we're like, man, we love track 3, and he's like, you guys seriously? I hate this band. We're like, Brian, that is you. What's going on here?
Yes.
I know. I'm sure that as an artist, there's probably obviously your heart goes into something that you create like this, but I'm sure that when you release something, there's always things that you're like, I wish we could have done this differently, or whatever it may be. I don't know. I've only ever heard of one band before that they made a statement that just blew my mind one time, and they said, "Nope, every album that we've ever released, we think is perfect for the time and place that it came out, and we love them all and wouldn't change anything about them." And I'm like, wow, okay, that's cool. All right, so we're talking about "Back to the Start" by VOTA. So here is some information that I pulled offline, and then I'll just kind of, Brian, let you, after I read this, kind of fill in gaps and give us a little bit more history. But this is basically a statement from you guys. So this album came out, I think, January 23rd this year, 2026.
Yep.
And what you guys had to say about it is, this album is us hitting reset. It's about stripping everything back to why we started making music in the first place. Before the pressure, the business, the expectations. Back when it was just about loving the sounds, the songs, and the emotions behind them. We're returning to our creative roots, writing not to chase trends, but to tell the truth. We didn't make this album for charts or radio. We made it for ourselves and our fans. Yeah, that's cool. Give us more.
Yeah, man. I just felt like there's something my kids said to me. They were like, "Dad, I kind of miss music like your very first album," and it's and it resonated with me because I realized, the very first album I ever did, it was before we had any attention from record labels or anything. We just did it because that's what we thought we needed to do. We made the music without that sort of outside influence. And I'm not saying that the albums that we've done since have been that way, but there is that reality of like, okay, now we're trying to blend art and money to make a living, and that can get tricky. It can be an interesting blend. And so sometimes you're like, well, we need a radio single, we need this, whatever, and you're thinking along those lines. And this album was just stripped that all away. After, events in my life and just where I was at personally, my bandmate and I, we were like, you know what, we have to make something we're proud of. I heard Rick Rubin on a podcast say something similar. It's like I know it almost sounds weirdly arrogant, but we have to love it and be proud of it first before we release it.
Mm-hmm.
And as an artist, by the time an album releases, we've recorded, sung, listened to mixes and stuff 100 times per
Yeah.
song, and you're kind of like you've lost the shine for each song. And you can always be your own worst critic, and like most art, at some point you have to let it go and stop tweaking it. But that's what we did. That's the approach that we did. We did it musically, we did it lyrically. Like let's take that approach. And so I'm really proud of it for that reason.
That's awesome. Well, I guess go ahead and we dive into the album.
Yeah, I
or-
was just gonna say, usually when we cover a record, we talk about like our history with this, and so obviously Brian's got a lot of history with this music and with this band. But Brandon, for us, maybe it's helpful to give for a little context. So for me, I'll just say so when you came to me and said, "Hey, I've been talking to this guy from the band VOTA, and he's interested in coming on the podcast," I'm like, "Awesome." But I'd never heard of you guys. And I think it was just a timing thing maybe for me, where I kind of grew up more in the like mid 90s through mid 2000s. And Brandon's a little later than that. And so it's cool for me for this to be my first introduction to your music. And I'm especially interested now after conversations from the earlier episode that we had you on too, to be able to go back and listen to some of the other stuff and kind of trace some of the different changes and things that you've kind of talked about over the course of it. But it was a really fun introduction for me. It's just I'm a brand new listener to this, which is cool. But you have a history with this, Brandon, right?
Yeah, I discovered VOTA. I saw their music video for their song "Hard to Believe" on TV, and I was like, I think that I don't know if I caught the name at first, so it might have been all right, let me wait till I see this music video pop up again, randomly. I feel like that's a weird concept for people to realize that back in the day you couldn't just hum a song. I remember the radio stuff would come on, and I'd be like, this song comes on every day at 3:43. So tomorrow I can hear a little bit more of it. So once I discovered who it was, I picked up the album, and I think it was 2008 or 2009 when it came out, the self-titled one. And I really liked it because it was a time where I listened to a lot of stuff on the radio, but I was discovering bands that I felt like were kind of doing their own thing. And I think that even I think it was a review I read on Jesus Freak Hideout where they were talking about how that album, it was a little bit ahead of its time. They were man, a lot of the stuff they were doing, a year or two later, you see this popped up on a lot of stuff. So for me, I kind of just saw VOTA as a band that it felt like they were kind of doing their own thing. And I appreciated that because, and even as we dive into this album, I think what's cool is that whenever a band is doing their own thing, even if it's a track that maybe doesn't resonate with me, I'm like, well, man, I wonder what they're going for. Or I almost appreciate, you know what? I'm glad that they didn't release, because it'd been easy to release an album of here's what people love. Let's just, copy and paste this 10 times. I appreciate when a band is well, no, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to try this. And so for me, when this album came out, I thought that was so cool to not just be, all right, well, let's put out just something. We want to put out something that we are proud of and that we're happy with. And, I guess for y'all, it's we hope the fans like this. we assume they'll like this, but, so yeah, for me and just even sitting down, there's so many times where I wish that I could ask an artist, why was this done? And so for me, whenever you mentioned going through the album, it was man, this is so cool to kind of get this almost VIP experience where you're getting to sit down with, an artist and get to ask, man, so why like, why'd y'all do this, or how did this idea come to be? I feel like is really cool. So
I love that. Brandon, you mentioned something about just artists making music, and who is this for? Like, are we making music for ourselves that we love, that we're passionate about? Are we making music for our fans? Bryan, as you think through that and you think about this record specifically, I know that in the thing that we read earlier, you talked about how you made it for yourselves and for your fans. But what is the balance of that maybe for you? And who are you thinking about most when you're creating? Is it kind of coming just from a what do I want to make? What do I want to put out into the world? Or are you kind of thinking about your fans as you do that?
I think it just kind of sometimes all swims together in your
Yeah.
mind, and I'm definitely I, I'm not a jazz artist or some obscure like thing where that music's taking all these weird left turns and it's not melodic. Or I love pop music. I love big songs. I'm a fan of everything that has sold millions of records. I'm not like I'm so indie that, oh no, that's it's like, no, I mean, the stuff I grew up reflects that. And so you're looking for that energy in a song, and you want the chorus to feel different and to lift and so there's always that. And at the same time, sometimes it's a lyrical content too. It's like, okay, frankly, honestly, I get tired of a lot of modern Christian music that just has the same old phrases regurgitated over and over again. We lift our
Yeah.
hands, we praise your name. Like, okay, somebody surprised me with say something that makes me think a little bit differently,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to like really find my voice in that and bring that into the song as well. So it's that mix of like, yeah, we're not going to make 12-minute songs that no one's ever going to have an attention span to listen to. They're going to have energy, they're going to have surprises, they're going to be rock and pop and everything in between. So you are thinking of an audience a little bit in that, because I don't want to do shows by myself. I want people to come to it.
Right.
And so you are thinking it, but you're also taking a risk going, well, I'm going to say this and I hope that's okay. Or I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this left turn musically. And because I think it feels great and it's what
Mm.
we should do. So hopefully everybody likes that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome. I'll just say off the top, I love all the left turns on this album. So I think they're really fun. So
Thanks.
I for sure definitely appreciate
I,
it. So
I'd love to tell you. So our producer, his name is Riley Friesen. He used to be the guitarist in our band. He's from Nebraska. He used to work at when he was like a teenager. He worked at Guitar Center, and our bass player at the time, like, started talking to him about buying gear and stuff like that. And then we took him out on the road, and his passion was always to record and produce. And our producer at the time, Nate Dantzler, who's actually now a world class mastering engineer who mastered our album, um, he Riley went under his wings in LA and kind of learned his craft and has become a producer on his own now. And this particular album, I think I told you guys in the last episode, I work with a unique Christian organization that does strategic leadership events,
mhm.
and we made some special albums just for the guys that go through this program that you can't get anywhere else. They're not on any socials. It's like they get a vinyl album that's a gift. And so back to the start, and an album for this organization was recorded at the same time in just over a week in Estes, Colorado, in the
Mm.
house that the organization owns, like right
Mm.
on the Big Thompson River. So Riley brought all his necessary gear to Estes, and a buddy of mine has like a zillion guitar amps, and that we brought all the drums and everything set up in the living room, and pretty much got 2 albums done,
Mm.
recorded in a week, a little over a week. And it was amazing. The drums sounded killer in the room, and we were right on the river, so when you're working really hard and you need a break, you can just go out on the deck and see the river go by. Like, we
Yeah.
had a blast. And Riley is just world class. He mixed and he produced this album, and contributed on some of the song stuff too. See, even some stuff he doesn't take credit for, but sometimes we would be stuck on something like, I think you should do this before we hit the bridge. I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. So just want to give him a shout out. It was part of this was getting to be with just really good friends. That's one of my biggest joys when I see Riley doing his thing and John and we're making art together, but we're having fun doing it. It's like, man, it's got to be what heaven's going to be like, at least a little bit.
I love that. You mentioned the drums. This is getting a little ahead on my stuff, but that's one of my favorite things about this record are the drums. They sound so good. And so I can only imagine what they were like in the room, but on the record, they came through really well. And so that's fun. Yeah, that's cool. So you're telling us though, that there's a whole other record out there that we haven't heard. Is that ever going to make itself publicly available, or does it stay kind of an insider thing?
I don't know. It's a pretty beautiful thing when you, the Harbor Ministries that I work for, they invest heavily in 20 guy leaders at a time.
Yeah.
And so when we present that gift to those guys, they're like, wow, this is so cool that we poured heart and soul into. I mean, that organization has had about 1,000 men go through it since its inception.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we are able to give them an album that can't be found anywhere else.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of those songs at the event, so it kind of timestamps what God's doing in their lives. And so I'm sure I can, all that to say, I'm sure I can give you a link if you want to hear something. And there's some overlap, like the song Stay Wild. That concept of Stay Wild came from Harbor. It came from the founder of Harbor. We came up with this kind of phrase where you, on the surface, stay wild sounds like, yeah, just be on the edge and crazy. But no, there's separate words there. Sometimes staying is a very wild thing to do. And sometimes not changing the formula it's is a very wild thing to do. It's not evolving. Not everything has to be like an American corporation that trends upwards all the time. Like, and so that's where that kind of song came from a little bit, at least the title of it. And so we wrote a title track that Stay Wild is on the other album. It's also on our album.
Gotcha. That's cool. So that was one of my questions. I guess let's just jump into the tracks. Stay Wild. I had a question about that. I was wondering like what was kind of like the inspiration behind that? And so I love the idea of taking that as like two separate words and kind of what's contained in there. That's fun to get like a kind of a backdrop on that one.
Well, yeah, the chorus, I've walked through fire, walked a lonely road towards something greater. I'm born to stay wild. Like the Christian walk, it takes one moment to move from faith to fear, depending on the circumstance that God might allow in your life. And none of us escapes walking by faith, like God on this side of eternity has chosen to reveal himself in the way he has. And that path, that pursuit, when you're leaning in there, that's a wild way to live, to have that sort of faith, and no matter what you face, that might give you doubt sometimes. So that's kind of where that song came from. It's just like pressing on, even when it seems like God is absent or even punishing you in some ways.
That's cool. So this is my first VOTA song to listen to. And so the drums kicked in and I was instantly like, wow, okay, this is cool. Like I loved what was happening there. And then the guitars came in and I'm like, these guitars are huge in such a cool way. You can totally hear like, man, it's like you want to hear this song live in an arena because it just feels really big.
So speaking of that, I feel like every episode I mention this, but like whenever I'm listening to an album, I've gotten to the point where I listen to it almost as if it's a concert. Like if they said they were doing, 5-year anniversary and we're playing through this record. So that's kind of how I see it is I'll think to myself like, man, if this was a show, how would I feel about like, how it begins, how it ends, like track listing. So like I was curious whenever you are going into, I don't know, any album or maybe just this album, is there any thought, like, I guess how much goes into here's the order we want for them?
It feels like two different questions. Let me try to answer
Mhm.
it. I try to make sure we're writing and record songs that push me. I don't want to totally think about how I'm going to perform it live, because a
Mhm.
lot of times there's guitar riffs that are hard to do and sing at the same time. And I'm like, okay, this
Yeah.
one's going to be tough once, but
Mhm.
like I got to figure it out. Um, but the actual flow of the album, yes, that
Mhm.
is something once the songs are done and trying to sort through, because I do the same thing with the set list, depending on
Mhm.
what the gig is, right? What should we start off here? What's the audience? Who we playing for tonight? So yeah, well, I mean, obviously we thought pretty hard on what the order should be on that album. And sometimes I'm glad you love the drums, because part of me is like, was that a wise move to, like, the first track just kind of be this drums by itself for a good period of time
Mhm.
before anything else
Yeah.
comes in?
I
But
love that.
a little bit of a bold decision.
Mhm.
Mm. Yeah, it's like I said earlier, we were talking about the left turns. Like, I love those kinds of decisions on songs, on records, especially when you're starting out like this. And so, um,
And all the guitars are through big amps. There's
yeah.
nothing in the box. It's like, I could show you a picture of about 7 amps I had lined up, and I would just like, let's match this head with this amp and throw this in, and we had a blast cranking.
I love that. That's awesome.
So, well, next we move into Try. I was listening to it. I kept picturing it. It sounded like something you would see off of like a Peter Furler, like his solo album. It
Oh,
reminded me a
okay.
lot of that. And I was like, man, this is really cool, because I could see, I could like see that being on like that or whatever. And it was cool because I was going through some of the performances you had done. I think it was last year or the year before with Peter and I think it was Phil Joel at a couple of festivals. So I was wondering, like, are there any kind of influences, or when you were going through this album, was there anything you were like listening to like musically that was kind of helping influence it at all?
I wouldn't say I tour a lot with Peter.
Mm-hmm.
One side fact that you guys maybe know or don't know, but VOTA is Peter's backing band, and I take all his booking requests.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a lot of house shows and private shows and stuff like that. And when we can, we get to be Peter's backing band, which is just a blast for
That's
Mm-hmm.
me.
fun.
So
I love that.
but I wouldn't say his music influenced this particular thing. Stuff I
Mm-hmm.
was listening to, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the band Muse,
Mm-hmm.
um, Post Malone,
Mm-hmm.
strangely enough. Like there's a lot of different influences there, but this song in particular, John and I operate as a two-piece now, like a 21 Pilot sort of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this special guitar that has like a sub octave on the bass side, and those go to bass cabinets, and then the guitar go to the guitar cabinets while we're playing. And when we were practicing a lot of things, I had an open tuning, like an open D tuning, and sometimes we would just jam, and I am like, ooh, there's some cool riffs here, let's just record that. And Try came from a lot of those open D sort of weird
Mm-hmm.
tuning sessions, which makes things fun when you go to do something live. Like, okay, where's my open D tuning guitar I gotta bring with me now to play
Yeah.
this song? But that's kind of where some of that was inspired from.
Yeah. I love the chorus on this song. It's so catchy. I just want to I want to sing along with it. It made me think a little bit about just your kind of writing process when it comes to piecing a song together and putting a song together. Is ha, when yeah are you when you sit down and write? I know people write different ways. Some people start with music and melody, some people start with lyrics. Like, what for you when you're piecing a song together, what's your kind of general process?
Voice memos on my phone, I probably have like 600 of them, and
Yeah.
they could be anywhere. Or I'm practicing with my bandmate, and we're bored. We hate practicing, right? I mean, we so then we just start jamming, and I'm like, dude, that was cool, and I capture that on the phone. And so you'd have these like 10-second, 30-second blips of different riffs and jams that then I would go back and listen through and go, why did I even record this? This is terrible. Or some are like, ooh, that's actually really cool. So then you sift through those and move the cooler ones to a different file, and then you go, well, these actually could go together. So sometimes there are different riffs that didn't all happen in the same song. And then they come together at some point. And then John, my drummer, who also plays keys, he's contributing a lot on the writing. It used to be primarily me, but he's working up some great stuff, which is great because he might work on something on the keys for like a month, and then he presents it to me, and then I'm immediately inspired, like, ooh, I got melodies, ideas over this, and I'm singing them into my phone to come back to later. So that's a lot of it, and then lyrics are always last.
Gotcha.
Sometimes I might have a theme for a lyric, but usually I need to, like, I'll have the melody and everything else, and then I go, what does this song feel like? Where do I think this is saying? And sometimes the gibberish lyrics in my demos is like, I think I said the word snow cone in there. I think that should be in the chorus, like, so. I wish I was a poet and just like journaled and wrote a ton of lyrics and stuff all the time, but I kind of go kicking and screaming lyrics. I mean, I could get albums out a lot faster if I didn't have to write lyrics, honestly.
Yeah, that's funny. It's interesting to hear you talk about it that way. I love the idea of like random voice memos, and sometimes you're like, oh, that one actually fits pretty well with this one. I was kind of wondering that listening to it, because there is like a good cohesion to the songs, but I also like that, like there's a willingness to like shift, and do some different things. It made me think a little bit about one of my probably my all-time favorite songwriter was Bryan Olesen from the Beach Boys. And that's how Bryan wrote. Like, he wrote pocket symphonies, and he would write like a melody here and a melody here, and then just take all these different pieces and create songs out of all these different pieces, and yet somehow they're like cohesive and beautiful. And so that's kind of fun. It's an interesting take on things.
The end of Try kind of goes into this more uplifted sort of, the jam changes a little bit, and that's where the guitar solo comes in at the end of the song.
I love the guitars there.
Thanks, man. I have to work out a solo like I'm working out a melody. I'm not a John Mayer where I can just like, oh, what key are we in? And I just go for it. I have to, like, it's like I sing it, and I sit there in the guitar section, and usually the producer, John, they leave, they're gone, and I sit there with this section looping over and over and over and over until I feel like I found the right guitar melody for that particular section. That's how it goes for me. But I also felt thematically, that this song is talking honestly about my divorce and what it was like to, I try to let you go. This was a marriage that was 24 years. And it's to be in a position where you're letting that person go was like a stamp in time of like, this is hard. I'm always going to love her in some way, not the way that I thought I'd go to the end with. But so to have the song get to the end and go to a little bit more of an uplift is also good. Like, you're in this moment, excuse me, this cold. You're in this moment that's hard, and you're reflecting on it. And like most hard things we go through, one, there's no shortcut. You have to go through it. And things get better over time.
So track 3 is Hold for Applause. One of the things that I loved about this one was like the kind of the introduction of like synthesizers, and they're like huge here and pretty fun. Like, what was your like inspiration for all that synth work?
Ooh, that's all John. John is the drummer. He's also the keys player, and he spends really good money on a lot of synthesizers. He's in it. So I remember seeing him go through each sound on everything he's ever bought, and he categorizes it like Some I don't like this one. I like, he knows his gear inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all coming from him, which is obviously for me super inspirational to have that influence how I play, how I sing, where the melody's going to go. So it's been really fun, kind of him ramping up stuff on the keys. He's a really good piano player. He's a very musical drummer as well.
Yeah.
And kind of presenting ideas that give me a fresh perspective to kind of write over. It's been a lot of fun.
That's really cool.
So I feel like this song asks some pretty big questions as I was just kind of thinking through it. And questions I feel like are important that maybe not a lot of artists, specifically Christian artists, are like willing to kind of work through and ask, especially in like a song you're going to release. What kind of led for you to have that kind of vulnerability like on a track like this?
Yeah, guys, this was probably the song I was most scared of
Mm-hmm.
because of how it would be perceived. Even my producer was like, "You sure you're okay with saying that?" Like, yeah. And I think the line he was referring to at the time is, I'm talking to God saying, your silence is violent or
Yeah.
can feel like violence, because if anyone's ever been through a time of desperation and you wanted God to engage the senses more than he does.
Yeah.
And I think God invites that, there's these cries in the Psalms that he knows every thought anyway. So why keep that absent from your prayers and how you cry out to him? And so I wanted this song to have that feel of kind of talking about, the shadow will win. We're talking about, in some ways, sin has a control over us. We're all going to face death. No one escapes that, obviously, unless God comes back before we do. But so some of the realities of that, just really asking yourself a bunch of questions. But for me, from my perspective, it's like I've asked these questions and I know God is real, and I know Jesus is the way to him as well. So none of that has changed, but this song is being okay to throw that struggle out there and capture it in a lyric and in a song.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I feel like we're so afraid to do that in like a polished CCM world sometimes because we're like, no, like everything's got to be figured out. Like we know who God is, and I do certainly believe like we do know who God has shown himself to be, revealed himself to be in his word. But that doesn't mean that we're still not going to face questions about life and how those things work out. And it reminds me a little bit of C.S. Lewis's book, A Grief Observed, as you get like a glimpse into his journals as he's walked through losing his wife and questioning God and just wondering like how God could allow things to happen like they do, and it does harken back to the Psalms, and I feel like, man, these are important things, and it shouldn't be a bad thing for us to put that out to the world. I feel like today that we see so many people walk away from the faith because they don't feel like there's a safe space to ask questions. And I think that the church has got to get a lot better at allowing questions and talking through questions rather than just avoiding them altogether. Because I feel like we just lose people that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and even some Christians just to not take on what everybody's saying and think that they have to say the same thing. Yes, Jesus is my all in all, but sometimes it doesn't feel that way. Obviously, I wouldn't make some of the decisions I do or resort to food or drink to, for temporary happiness. And like, we can say that and roll it off the tongue and we know that to be true. But for some people to be more honest with, and vulnerable and know that that's okay, I think it would draw more people in. It's like, hey, I've got questions and struggles, but I know that you're never going to convince me of that God is not who he is, and that who I am in Jesus, like nothing would change that. But I can
Yeah.
still talk about the things I wrestle with. So I feel like this song, there is a little bit of, it's not that it's not hopeful, but the chorus is like, most of the chorus is like, there's nothing more here. But the last chorus is, there's something more here. I'll wait for the dust to. So it's like, it's finding that little bit of hope that even though whatever situation you might be in is still full of chaos and pain, you're still sensing in that moment that there's a bigger story at play. Even though your emotions and your heart might not fully line up to that yet.
Yeah. That's good, man.
All right, so moving on, we move to the next track, Magical. And so with this one, my question was, at the beginning I mentioned how I first found y'all because of music video. And I remember on the first album, what stood out was you have this, for Hard to Believe, it's all this stuff's going on. It's like a kaleidoscope or whatever. And then the other music video I remember was for I'll Go, where it's just this simple, like this guy and his dog are outside. And, so it was like, it was just so cool being like, man, this one over here is like this crazy, all the stuff's happening. This one's really simple. And so for Magical, it's one of the tracks on this album that got a music video. So I was wondering, what's kind of like that process of whenever you're looking at your album and you're like, okay, like I don't know if it's like we need to make a music video, but it's like, I guess, number one, how important do you feel like music videos are, like maybe in today's world? And secondly, how do you choose, like, what's the process of, here's the one we're going to make a music video for?
Yeah, it's a great question. On this album, Try and Magical both have music videos to them. And we've got one videographer who's just amazing. He's a one-stop shop from filming everything to editing. And he's just, he's got great instinct. He's great to work with. And he's, which also helpful on the budget side too, that he can do all that himself. And these video ideas we just came up with. And for Magical, I literally was in town driving by and like the city or state fair was going on. And I just had this thought, I'm like, oh, we should do a music video there. And it's only open for like 10 days. And we literally put this script together and filmed the whole thing. And my daughter's kind of a star in it. And it's just, Magical is a love song. And it's just everything that, when you're falling in love, when you're falling in love, it tries to capture everything that's happening in that season. And this music video is a little bit kind of more of a playful thing on that, where my daughter's kind of all excited about going on this date to the fair with a guy who's like disinterested and playing video games with his friends, and he's late and all that sort of stuff. And then, she's just he's not really in the relationship at all. And at the very end, they break up or whatever, and some guy is like nice to her. So it doesn't go anywhere, but it's just at least gives some story, because it was kind of cool to film all this and with the lights of the carnival and stuff going on. So it does have a story element. It's not completely wacky, and I think it fits well.
Yeah. I really like this one. It's got a different feel from the previous tracks so far, but it's got, as the young people today would say, a cool vibe to it. And I like the feel and like the hopefulness of it. I thought it was really fun. So it's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Track 5. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say track 5, Escape from Love. Maybe, is this one the longest song on the record?
I think it might. I think it might be the longest. I think it also might. It's probably tied for me with favorite song on their album. Yeah. So it gets both those accolades.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah. So this one was interesting to me. I'm listening to it and I'm like, we're getting towards what I felt like was feeling wise, like close to the end of the song. And I'm like, oh, we're not even halfway through this yet. And then you guys do this thing where it's almost like a false ending to the song, where like you feel like the song ends, but then it's kind of like reborn in a different kind of way. And it creates kind of like the first quiet space on the record. At the end of this one, what kind of led you guys to take that turn? It's another one of those like left turns that I thought was really
Yeah.
unique and fun.
I think this is one where you leave some mystery behind the song. Like the song's called Escape from Love, but then the chorus is like there's no escape from love.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that hits at a lot of angles, or it can,
Yeah.
when you're in a position for the first, like me, for the first time in your life, where you are considering loving someone else again and
Mhm.
going through that process, you could have all sorts of meanings, and sometimes I'll just be honest, it's like, do I want to get married again? Do I want to be single? Do I?
Mhm.
And you're wrestling with these thoughts of like, but I long. I can't escape from longing to want to walk life with a partner, but I'm a bit fearful too. Like, how do I do
Mm.
this? And so it has all those elements in it. And I think it was really good to get to the end of this song, because it's definitely it's an attitude rock song. I love the tone of the guitars on the chorus.
Yeah.
It feels like a U2 Vertigo sort of vibe to me. And but to get to the end, to kind of say it, there's no escape from love, on a kind of an octave down, more moody feel. It's almost like this sobering reality in a lot of ways. There's no escape from God's love. You can
Mhm.
deny him, you can push him away if you want, but there's no escape from it. He loves you, and you have to wrestle with the fact that nobody escapes faith.
Mhm.
Nobody. If you decide I'm going to live my life however I want, or I'm going to be an atheist, that's still a faith position,
Mm.
because there's no proof for anyone. Um, and so I think that last part of that song sets up, oh, maybe the song was about something completely different than I thought it was earlier,
Mm.
or maybe it could be about all of it. So that's it. And then we just let it stew and simmer, and started with the acoustic guitar, and then let the kind of keys take in, and just see where what journey that took people on. Almost like a time of meditation. You just heard this
Yeah.
song, and now you're in this moment, and this stuff's going on in the background. It's like, whatever's going on in your mind, capture that. What are you
Mhm.
thinking? And it's gonna be different for everybody.
Yeah. I love that. Brandon, what stood out to you about that one since you loved it so much?
I think it's just the feel for it. So I work at a senior center. So I was going to pick up, and I just kind of had it like playing. So I was going to pick up these like donations for us. So you're just kind of doing this like little mundane thing or whatever. And this track hits, and I was like, "Oh man, this is really cool." Like it just like it like hit you. It wasn't just I think some tracks you listen to and you're like, "Oh, okay, that track's there." Like it instantly, I was like, okay, like as soon as I parked, I was like, all right, now which track was that, so that I can like earmark it. And I think it's a sign of a good song whenever you
Mm.
hear it and you immediately are like, all right, this is going on the like the playlist.
Yeah.
Like this is, we don't have to have a discussion or wait to see if it works out. It's immediately it's going on the current listening playlist or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a mark of a good song when you're
I thought you were
instantly.
gonna say the old people at the senior center really loved it.
Probably would have if you had.
I about to say that
Taking
that's
it
a
in.
music video waiting to happen there. It's just
It's not a bad
I
idea.
like it. I like it.
So the next track is B, which I think is one of my favorite tracks on the record. You've got the synthesizers again, which I think are really cool. Brian, you mentioned Muse earlier, and like this is one that I really hear like that influence in
Oh,
this
okay.
in this track, vocally, musically, especially in the first part of it. There's like this like almost felt like darkness to just the tone of the song in the beginning, but then you hit the bridge and it like I love how the tone shifts to kind of like a really hopeful feel. We talked about that on a previous song too. But I really thought that was great. And I love the hope that's on the backside of what feels kind of like darkness in the beginning of this one, just musically and like the tone of it. I thought was really, really strong. It's a great one.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. You guys aren't tearing me down yet. I'm still waiting for it. This song definitely has like it just kind of keeps going this way. It ramps up. It
Yeah.
starts, and you're right. This song, I think, there's a band called The War on Drugs that I think
Yeah.
their vibe kind of influenced this song a
Mhm.
bit. Just having that turn at the end and um, letting an instrumental just kind of be there for a bit. Obviously, not something that anybody would probably consider for radio because of the format so strange. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember John had this that beat going and those chords at the beginning, and I'm like, dude, I really like that. And I was writing melody stuff right away to it, and it just had that sort of more of a haunting feel.
Hmm.
And but yeah, no, I'm really proud of that one as well. Just to not adapt the simple chorus pre bridge chorus, and it just got its own sort of format.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fun. Next one is Under City Lights. Brandon, what'd you think about this one?
I think this might have been it's either first or second with Escape from Love, like favorite tracks on the album. I feel like it's just like a really just straightforward like song.
Yeah.
So my question with this one is, and I feel like Brian, you're probably like picking up on this, that Joel usually has these really well thought out questions about like, man, how'd the guitar do this or that? And mine are just really obscure where it's like, that's a cool color red. Why'd you choose that color red? And
Yeah.
so for me, like as soon as I saw the title, I was just like, man, that's a really cool sounding song. Like before I even listened to the song, I was like, I like that title. So it made me think, like as a band, is there like is there a certain like, man, there's thought put into here's what we're gonna call this, or is it just that is the last thing you were thinking about in the music process, is that is the final thing, is just okay, here's what we're gonna call this song?
Well, definitely because most all the songs are created musically, and
Mm-hmm.
then lyrics are the last, and then wherever those lyrics end up being, like, oh, what should the title be?
Mm-hmm.
So uh, yes, but want to even a song like B, like yeah, we should just call it B.
Mm-hmm.
Under City Lights, we thought it was cool too, and it's definitely more of a feel good. It's another feel good
Mm-hmm.
sort of just like you're in a really great moment in life, and you know what? Honestly, for me, when bad moments have come, not bad, like really trying moments,
Mm-hmm.
um, when you have good moments, you know that you never know what's around the corner,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what I felt even during my time on The Voice was like, this is incredible. Watching my daughter, this is incredible. Like
Mm-hmm.
you never know when life might get really difficult again because
Mm-hmm.
it definitely, and it will for all of us at some point, right? As we slowly get older and lose capacity in some ways, but um I felt like Under City Lights was like, this is just such a great moment,
Mm-hmm.
and it's trying to capture it. Windows down, radio up. If you ever been in that moment where it's a nice
Yeah.
day, it's a nice day in Nebraska right now. This is a windows down, crank the radio to whatever that song is,
Mm-hmm.
and just let that be and feel that. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to capture in this song.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like you do that well with this one. It's especially as the song really kicks in, it's got a great feeling to it. I also think this is, as I was listening to this on Apple Music, it's the one that's got the like star by it. So I'm like, was this a single? Is this? But yeah, you can
Well,
tell it's
something happened. I'm not even sure how it happened, but we released the album, and a Christian editorial playlist picked that song to feature,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
huh,
which was surprising to me because lyrically it's just feel good
Mm-hmm.
kind of love song.
yeah,
There's not really a spiritual context as much as a lot of the other songs, but it must be doing really well because it's the top it's our top played track on Spotify right now. So that people must be finding it from that playlist, and it's turning into new listeners. I mean, our listenership since we released the album has like tripled. So
That's great.
we're really excited. So yeah, we would welcome a lot more. We need to find more editorials. However, somebody help me.
That's great. I love it. I love it.
That's cool. So we move to Up To is the next like track on the album. And I think that like this one was the first one that I was kind of like, man, this feels like a lot different from the like rest of the album. And so I was thinking, I was like, Bryan was like, yeah, be super honest about this. I was like, yeah, I feel like this. And but it like I said, kind of knowing the thought process of the album, you know, it wasn't like oh, this is like a bad song or this song makes me angry or something. You know, it was more of a like, man, I wonder, you know, it is so different. I wonder kind of what the backstory like is with this, you know, because in my experience, there are so many times where I will be like, yeah, this is my least favorite track. And then someone will be like, you know, that was my favorite track, or that track changed my life. So this was a perfect example of, you know, I'm like, man, if this is a normal review, it probably stops at, yeah, like, I don't know if I was feeling this track, but this is such a cool opportunity to kind of get to sit down and be like, you know, man, what is the behind this? Like, what is it about this track that maybe I'm not, you know, understanding like musically or lyrically like behind it?
Oh yeah. Well, couple things. And I've wrestled with this. Maybe as a band, we've wrestled with this. Like, we're not, if you try to think of like a band like Metallica or Skillet or something, like you can kind of go, oh, that band, I pretty much know what their album is going to feel like from start to finish based on who they are, right? Where we've not necessarily been that band, especially on this album. And that could be confusing. It's like, ooh, I like this, I like this, I like this consistency you have here. And then all of a sudden you have a track that seems like a little out of left field. And I get that. And that was part of like, hey, we like it and we like variety. And I don't want to, I love Muse, for instance, right? One of my favorite bands, but I rarely too often can take 11 songs in a row from Muse at that intensity vocal. Like I need it, like I need a break. And so on our album, it's almost like here's a playlist of us rather than. And so one interesting thing about this song is my youngest son, Liam, actually wrote the music. He was just working with some, I don't know, he was working with some different demo. I don't know how he did it because I think he found splices of different things, and I'm like, hey, that's cool. And I started singing over it. And so he's a co-writer on this song. My daughter hates it because I say something like, you can TikTok that if you you can TikTok that if you want to. And she's like, Dad, people don't say that. They don't say they're gonna TikTok something. Like you're so old. I'm like, I don't care. I'm saying it. And strangely enough, like it's in our top. That song is in our top 10 on Spotify right now as like most listened to songs. So I had to screenshot that and send it to her. I'm like, well, some people like it, even though you hate it. That song is definitely quirky and off the wall. It probably has like Post Malone / Weezer influence type, like just lazy vocal. The lyrics are definitely masked, or they're definitely, what's the word? I have certain people in mind when I'm singing those lyrics, and my closest friends, I might tell them who those people are. People that honestly just really pissed me off, and that I have in mind when I'm singing certain, and it's just being honest about that. It's like I'm done with hanging with people like you, and sadly, most of the people that have done that to me have worn the brand of they're Christians, and they've done some, and you know what, we can have boundaries there. I can forgive them like God has, but doesn't mean they have to be in my life to
Yeah.
a certain level
Absolutely.
anymore. So this song is a playful way of like of me getting to capture that without revealing
Mm-hmm.
who all the people are that I'm singing about, and just rolling with it. So in that sense, I'm really proud of it
Mm-hmm.
because I did feel that this feels like, where do we place this on the album? It's very different, and but at the same time, I'm thankful it's there, and I
Mm-hmm.
do picture like a cool moment live of just letting this song just kind of stew for a bit and
Mm-hmm.
letting the letting the people in the room sing it. Um, I don't know, just even the chorus. Everybody wants to know what I'm up to. It's happened after my divorce. It's happened
Mm-hmm.
after The Voice. Like, people just have the same questions, and they really want to know some inside information, but sometimes they might use that against you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's this song is just playfully addressing kind of big issues,
Mm-hmm.
but in a playful way.
Yeah, I feel like they are. And I keep working with Brandon on being okay with like kind of cynical, playful ways to talk about big topics. But as a dad who has given my kid her first cell phone ever, um, I feel like the weight of like what she's being exposed to in the world of all of that that's out there that I'm putting in her hands, and how is this going to impact or influence her? And so yeah, I totally get it. So next track, I was not expecting to find a Coldplay cover, a Fix You. What made you guys decide like, man, this is what we want to do. We want to, granted, one of the best Coldplay songs ever. But what kind of led you to say we want to cover this one?
Oh boy, there's a few things. One, I remember when I was uh, going through the most difficult time, and my marriage was ending. I was just trying to distract myself and work on stuff in the garage, and I had music on, and Fix You came on by Coldplay that I've heard a zillion times, but for some reason that time, dude, it just, those lyrics just broke me.
Yeah.
You try your best, you don't succeed, and I feel like even lyrically how he wrote it, it's not one complete story. There's
Mm-hmm.
mystery behind it, but there's so much emotion behind certain phrases. I'm like, yep, I feel that. I resonate that with that. So there was a moment in time where that song became very impactful. And I also feel with covers, like, I hate when someone does a cover and they just like, let's get as close to the original
Yeah.
recording as possible and do
Yeah.
it. Like, why are you doing a cover? Like, Weezer did a lot of that, and that's great. A lot of people love their covers, but I want someone to give me a fresh take. I already got the original
Yeah.
version,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like Fix You was like, it's a timeless song and it's a masterpiece as is, and it's like, you better find a way to bring something different here, and it wasn't an easy task. So there was
Mm.
that, and consequently that was the song that I sang that got me on The Voice. It was that 90-second song in the
Oh,
bathroom
gotcha.
that I put a little bit of a chorus together, playing kind of
Mm.
a reverby guitar, and so I don't know. So probably those reasons.
That's cool. No, we can't be too hard on Weezer. They're one of my favorite bands.
Oh
Um,
yeah, same.
but the cover album is super lazy. I agree with you.
That's a good way to put it. Lazy.
um, Brandon, you know that Coldplay song, "Fix You"?
No, I was hoping that you
What?
guys wouldn't mention me because I didn't know this was a
What?
cover.
This is,
Oh my goodness.
I
I was hoping
know,
I could just sneak under.
it's a pretty
Well, all right,
iconic song.
all right. That being said, I love, you just gave me a massive compliment because you picked two songs that you really, really loved on the album,
Hmm.
and one of them wasn't the Coldplay song, which
Uh-huh.
because you didn't know it was Coldplay. So, what did you think about the song in general, since you didn't know it was even a Coldplay song?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like the slow, like the slowness, like it being like a little bit more of a different like take on there. Um I enjoyed it. I think, like I said, leading up to like a live. I feel like this would be really cool to hear like live.
Mm.
I'm also just really thankful that you guys cleared that up. That way, like a month or two now, like I don't hear like Coldplay's and I go, "Huh, Coldplay's are covering Voda. That's wow, that's pretty cool." It would have confused a lot of people.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
And then so we move on to our final track, "Feels Like Home." Yeah, I mean my initial thoughts was I felt like it checked the boxes of, if I was at a concert, I feel like this would be a cool way to end. And I feel like almost just the concept of this album being like, back to the start or whatever. I felt like it was cool that you are arriving back there, because I think that so many times people think you have to reinvent, when sometimes, like you were saying, it's going back to what was this like before we were like, oh, we have to do this for the record label or this or that. And it's funny to me that as I get older, like there's so many bands that it's almost like the thing that was the most successful, that got the radio play or whatever, didn't bring the most joy. Like I remember an interview with Tim Skipper of House of Heroes, and they were talking about like touring with Toby Mac and Skillet. And you would think that 2009, 2010 or so, you'd be like, yeah, we want to be on that tour. But he was like, you're going out every night and you're the weird World War II band. These people are showing up for, Skillet's this rock, and then Toby Mac, his kind of like musical gumbo or whatever. And all these bands are kind of like, okay, who's this weird band that's singing about, World War II and communist or whatever? And I just thought it was so interesting that for them, what I would perceive as a fan to be this amazing thing, for them it was like, yeah, it's cool going out there, but it's even more cooler when you're in front of 500 people who know your music and know who you are. And so for me, it was just a cool way to end this album. With this idea of like, yeah, we're going back home. We're going back to where we were. So
Mm.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Brian,
I will say, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, like, what do you feel like impacted or influenced you to write this? It kind of gave me some like not of this world, like not at home kind of vibes. But yeah, what were kind of the influences for you to put this one together at the end?
First off, what I remember about this one is I've had this idea that I did on this song was like an idea I had on acoustic guitar that I probably wrote in like 2008. I've had it for a long time, and it was an idea that we never picked for any of the other albums, and we finally like, let's work on this. And I think the chorus is like one of my favorite, I'll say, a worship song or spiritual song to me is U2's "I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For."
Yeah.
And what I love about it is like, yeah, I believe in the kingdom come and all the colors will bleed into one. But here's a man that's experienced everything life has to offer. He's lived better than most kings. And the chorus is, "I still haven't found what I'm looking for."
Yeah.
And I think as believers, at least I do, I resonate with that, because we aren't fully home. Let me find a place that feels like home. And that could be personally, like, will I find love again? What's my place in this world? So it's that sort of thing, and a reminder that, okay, it's never really going to truly feel like home here. As much as we want that. I mean, yes, I know God walks with me every step, and there's moments that captures my heart, spirit, and feeling and all that. But there's also the reality of there's a reality coming for us that we can't even really fathom what it's going to be like on the other side. So I think this song kind of captures that longing for. It's a prayer. It's definitely it's singing to God all these things. Help me, help me, guide me. Should I stay or should I go? People say you'll know when you know. Like sometimes you want God to will you just lay out the answer for me? On this thing or that thing. And I'm sure when you gave your daughter that phone, like, what should I do here? Is this the right time? Did we wait long enough? Did we, and you wrestle through all those decisions. And you're doing the best that you can with everything presented before you, you know?
Yeah. Mm. Well, I'm so thankful that I had the chance to get to experience this and dig into this, and just doing these interviews has opened up your music to me, and now I get to go back and check out the rest of it and experience the rest of it. But I feel like this was such a fun start for me on something that is just now come out in the last few weeks. And now I get to kind of go back on a journey to discover all the other stuff. So just for me, man, just thank you for putting this out there. I know that you guys have, it seems like, really been on a journey as a band, and I think it's so cool that you're still working to put this music out there for people to experience and listen. And I'm super thankful that people are listening to it, and wherever those extra ears are coming from, whether it's they heard you on The Voice and now they get a chance to listen to something new, or, you know, longtime fans, or even new people like me that it just comes across their plate. I think that it's really, really cool stuff. And it's a really, really awesome opportunity. There's a lack of, Brandon and I talk about this all the time, but there's a lack of Christian music out there in the world. You know, we made a hard shift 15 years ago towards worship music. And I feel like just the ability to talk about how our relationship with Jesus and the kingdom of God impacts the everyday stuff of our life. Those are voices and things that are missing. And I feel like that's to a huge detriment for the church today of having music that can help kind of guide us through decision making and the way that we think about life and see the world. And so I'm just really grateful for anybody who's just continuing to say, let's look at the world, let's look at love, let's look at brokenness, but through the lens of our faith, and see how we can learn from each other and walk together. And I think those are such important things for us to be digging into together.
Yeah, I think you know, Joel, as a new listener, I'll say, as someone who has, you know, known the band for, I mean, I guess over 15 years, it was cool getting to go through and listen to it and get to see this change, but it feel like genuine. It's not just we're gonna change our sound so we can sell this or whatever. And I will say too that I appreciated just the thought and the quality of the album, because whenever you are, you know, whenever it was first brought up, like, oh, okay, cool, we're going to sit down and talk about your album with you, there is that scary part of, oh man, I don't want to be mean, but also you don't want to lie and be like, yeah, this track, has those guitars, they did some stuff, you know. And like I appreciated that it was an album that I enjoyed listening to, and that it genuinely brought up, like, you know, me thinking about stuff, or me just enjoying, hey, this is a song there's nothing deep going on. It's just a nice song, you know, to listen to while driving or walking. So as a listener, like, I appreciated that it is something that, you know, I walked away and I was genuinely happy with the effort that was put into the band. And I was like, man, I can't wait to add this, you know, like to playlist, or to go back and listen to this the same way I would, you know, like the former albums, the independent ones, the, you know, self-debuted, the how did your kids describe it, the album with the white car. So even that album.
That's awesome.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I mean, it's a lot to just even give an album a full listen, especially if you're going to talk on it. So I appreciate you guys wanting to feature it and to talk to me about it. And yeah, I thank you for that. And you didn't tear me up too badly. So.
That's awesome. Well, Bryan, for folks maybe that are listening to the podcast, but they're kind of new to VOTA and maybe want to check it out after listening to you, where would you push them to go find you guys online? Like, what would you say is the most important thing that they can do to kind of connect with what you guys are doing?
Well, wherever you stream music, I mean, our VOTA, VOTA, it's on all platforms. VOTABand.com is our website. So you can go there and see some of the music videos and see where we're playing live and everything going on with us. So those are probably the places to do it.
That's cool. I haven't checked into this yet, but I'm a huge vinyl guy. Can I get this record on vinyl?
No, we don't have it on vinyl yet. We would love to do that. We don't have a label. We're self-funded, so
Yeah.
one thing at a time. And when you make an album, it has to be a certain length. You have to master it a certain way when you actually do it. So we've not. We need one more. We need at least one more request for it. We can't just make it for you. I'm just kidding. At some point, that might be in the future. I would love to get that done too, but we'll see. Maybe in the coming months we'll get that out.
Cool. That'd be awesome. I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. So, well, man, thank you again for hanging out with us today and talking through this. It's been a real pleasure. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to continue to do in the future and maybe how we can keep pushing it. So that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Happy
man.
Sunday,
you.
fellas.
You as well. Talk to you later.
Yeah, take care.
All right. Well, it's time for our lyric of the week.
It's time for the lyric of the It's time.
All right, our lyric of the week comes from the track Magical. Come on, let's take on the world. Come on, let's shoot for the stars. Oh, there's no looking back. I think you stole my heart.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good record.
Yeah.
Good song. That's pretty fun. Well, it's been fun digging into this, especially with Bryan. We're thankful that he took the time to hang out with us and talk through this today. Don't forget, you can find us on social media, Facebook. Hey, are you listening? You can email us with your questions, your comments at heyareyoullisteningpod@gmail.com. We just want to say, hey, thanks again for showing up week after week and listening and spreading the good word. And we are looking forward to continuing the journey. We got some fun things that are coming up ahead. And so we're excited to keep having these conversations, keep digging in, and to keep listening. So we'll see you guys again next time.
Hey, are you listening? This ain't